All right, everybody. All right. As Matthew McConaughey would say. We are going to get live in just a second. Just got to switch scenes over. And hello, everybody, people, the Interbutts, as I say on YouTube and on Twitch sometimes. Welcome to the first episode of the Super Grapple Bros podcast. New podcast that I'm bringing to you guys on Twitch and YouTube, as well as SoundCloud, and it's going to be going up on iTunes as well once this episode is shot. I am one of your hosts, El Murpho. I am doing this alongside my brother, my best friend, DMurph, Dennis Murphy, whichever way you want to be considered. I have two names because of Up, Down, Down, but
we'll go with both for now.
Okay. So what is this podcast? What is it about? We are two brothers who used to work for WWE. Everybody knows that I work for WWE. I was a member of Up, Down, Down. I worked for WWE.com, WWE Second Screen, but a lot of people don't know that my brother Dennis also worked for WWE.
Yeah. I worked doing stuff for the WWE Network. A lot of logging of old footage. So things like Edge's retirement speech. I was part of helping bring that to the WWE Network. So if you type stuff like that in, that's what I helped with.
Mm-hmm. So we're both WWE fans who love video games and wrestling. And, you know, a lot of people want to see more wrestling stuff from me. And so I figured, a podcast would be a good way to do it. But I also wanted to talk about more than just wrestling. I wanted to talk about nerdy stuff, video games. So we decided, I talked to my brother, to Dennis, and we decided we were going to merge the ideas and do both a wrestling and video games podcast where we will do we would do wrestling, and then we'd talk wrestling and then talk video games. And then we'd also have a little bit of a twist. We're on Twitch. Twist
with Twitch.
Yes. So what we're going to do is we are going to be running a universe mode, a WWE universe mode, while we do the podcast. It'll be running on Twitch, and if you guys are listening to this in audio form, you might hear us react to it. But if you go to Twitch, catch us live, or watch the VOD back on Twitch or on YouTube, you'll be able to see what happens. We are going to be drafting today, the first week after WrestleMania, and we are going to be spending the entire podcast drafting picks. We're going to do a 2-minute timer, and then as I actually should get the timer up and ready, and as the 2 minutes run out, we will be taking picks. And we're going to go through at the end of the podcast. Then we're going to have a little bonus podcast segment where we're going to finish off the draft. That's going to eventually go up onto my Patreon page. It's patreon.com/LMurpho, as I do on my videos. And you guys will get that bonus content there. We'll do that for all patrons. We'll do that for patrons of all levels. You'll still get the extra content if you subscribe from the sign up to the $5 levels or above. But be sure to go there if you want to get the bonus draft stuff. And as you guys will see, I'm going to transition over and show you guys. We have universe mode right there in the lower box. I can also transition to us up here, and it will be up there in the higher box. As you guys see, we are doing that Saturday Night Main Event. Ignore that. That's a placeholder for us for the draft. We're going to be doing Raw and SmackDown Live. We're each going to pick a show. Now, there's also NXT there. We're going to be combined doing NXT, simulating it, and watching it and booking it. But we're going to let that play out, and that's going to be a Patreon exclusive. So after this week, if you guys want to see NXT stuff and maybe a couple extra topics from the podcast, you're going to go to patreon.com, sign up there, and you will get the NXT segment. This week, we are going to be doing the draft, but also, before I get into those rules, we're going to be talking about WrestleMania week. WrestleMania week just happened. And there's a lot to cover there. So it's going to be a lot of WrestleMania stuff. We're going to talk TakeOver Orlando, WrestleMania 33, Raw after SmackDown, Raw after WrestleMania, SmackDown after WrestleMania. And then we're going to transition into some video game news. There's some Overwatch news. There's some Mass Effect Andromeda news. Project Scorpio dropped its specs, so we're going to talk about all that stuff. And all the while, we're going to be drafting. But first, we're going to get the draft started. Now, before we went live, literally like right before we went live, we finally decided who wanted what show, because we were both content with both having either Raw or SmackDown. We decided that Dennis would make the pick of what show he wanted first, and in return, I would earn the first pick in the draft, which makes me really happy and excited.
Yeah, I'm very
really happy because that means I'm gonna get who I want first pick. And he was this
regretting this decision.
This first pick is the only person that I really wanted, so I'm happy.
And I have a feeling it's the same person that I really wanted.
Probably.
And muddy up some plans of mine.
But before we get going on the draft, we'll do the first 2 picks, then we'll get into discussion and we'll start the timers. Here are the rules for our universe mode draft. It's going to be 2-minute rounds. If we are in the middle of a conversation or a talking point, we'll let that finish, and then we'll let the draft happen. We'll have to let the pick happen, react to it, and move along with our conversation. We'll do that until we wrap up all of our conversation, our topics, and then the rest of the draft will be happening rapid fire on Patreon. We are only using the current roster, which is anybody who is on the current main roster on SmackDown and Raw. So it's not going to be any like free agents. So you're not going to see Kenny Omega get drafted. Would be awesome, but you're not going to see like Kenny or the Young Bucks. You're not going to see the Elite or the Bullet Club get drafted. You're not going to see the American Nightmare get drafted. However, each of us can make 1 draft pick from NXT, calling them up, which means Bobby Roode, Authors of Pain, Asuka, Liv Morgan, if you want her, No Way Jose, Roderick Strong, Cassius Ohno, all those people.
Just a little quick side note, one of my favorite chants I've ever heard actually involves Liv Morgan. And was started up by a friend of mine, and that was when she faced Asuka. He tried starting up the chant of "Live, live, live," and apparently it didn't catch on.
That's a good one, though. I wonder why that didn't catch on.
Yeah, I like it.
Oh, old JJ down in NXT. If you guys watch NXT frequently, he's our friend JJ is constantly on the camera side of NXT in with like the group of chanting people.
Yeah, he's usually wearing a purple Macho Man shirt.
Yeah, so shout out to JJ. Finishing up the rules, like with the draft that happened last summer in real WWE, you guys can a tag team counts as 1 pick unless you deliberately want to break up the tag team. And then we have a special rule because of Sanity and the New Day, who have more than 2 members. If one of us drafts, if I want to call up Sanity and pick them as my NXT call-up pick, or say Dennis wants to take all 3 members of the New Day, the next person as compensation will get 2 back-to-back picks since it's more than 2 people. And then some basic universe rules. The titles are going to stay on the same brand as they are now. So Raw has Universal, the United States Raw Tag Team Women's, Raw Women's, and then SmackDown has Intercontinental WWE World Heavyweight Championship, SmackDown Tag Titles, SmackDown Women's Championship. We can't add the UK Championship or the Cruiserweight because the game doesn't allow it. There will be, in addition to the call-up picks for NXT, there will be 2 call-ups allowed per person over the course of the year for NXT. And then there will also be 2 free agent signings allowed per person per year. So, as I said, we can't draft Kenny Omega, but say I want Kenny Omega to be a surprise appearance at the Royal Rumble and represent the Red brand, I can do that. He would be one of my 2 picks. And then we can have 1 part-timer appear for WrestleMania or some other event. And and it's normally for only 1 match, but based on extenuating circumstances, say we put them in a title match and they win it, we let them battle for the championship in like the next pay-per-view or whatever. Or if they win it, lose it, we want to do a rematch clause storyline, we can do that. So part-timers do not count Lesnar because Lesnar appears, though part-time, more than once per year. We're talking the people who only show up for WrestleMania, which would have been Undertaker had he not retired. Yeah. But Triple H, Shane McMahon, The Rock, Kurt Angle, now that he's the GM of Raw, those kinds of people we can have. So, with those rules all laid out, I have my wonderful thing here, and I am going to start off our Universe Mode draft with the number 1 pick overall. Let's go ahead and pick a participant.
I wonder who it's going to be.
I'm going to say
Emperor Palpatine.
Yeah, no, not so. Creative guys don't count. You guys might remember that from my my YouTube Star Wars tournament.
So I can't draft El Murpho and make him a jobber.
No, you can't.
Damn.
That does not work. So, with my first pick in the draft, I am going to introduce some strong style and draft Shinsuke Nakamura as my first overall pick.
Right.
I wanted myself.
Very good choice. Not who I thought
Yes,
you
I
would
know.
pick, though.
I'm sure I want to end this editing session. So Shinsuke Nakamura is my first overall draft pick. I wanted strong style on Raw.
Now, I have a question. I actually didn't bring this up because I didn't think of it until just now.
Okay.
I know you said New Day and Sanity. What if there is another group of one or of three or more people that have been a group and are all in WWE but are not necessarily together right now? Could we do that?
You can't draft the Shield as a group.
I'm not talking about the Shield.
You can't draft Evolution as a group.
I'm not talking about Evolution.
You can't draft the Wyatt family as a group.
I'm not talking about the Wyatt family.
If they are not currently a group, you have to draft them individually.
But no. I'm saying, what if they are still kind of a group but on just separate shows?
You cannot draft the club as one entity. You cannot draft the club as one entity.
If I can't draft the club, then I'm just gonna go with my favorite. Ooh, wow, my world title is the...
I had to set a title on there. Bam Bam Bigelow's a champion. There had to be a champion on there. Just
so, my first pick.
I know who you're gonna pick, and it's gonna mess because he would have been my number 2 pick, and it's gonna mess with what I wanted to be my Universal title rivalry.
My first
because I wanted New Japan.
The phenomenal AJ Styles.
I knew you were gonna go with AJ. AJ I wanted, but I wanted Shinsuke so bad that I wanted to draft him first overall.
I understand.
All right, so I've got strong style with Shinsuke. He's got the phenomenal one, AJ Styles, and we're gonna kick off. I'm gonna transition over to Dennis. Let him take over. He's going to start the discussion on the wrap up while I start the timer. I've got 2 minutes to make my next draft pick.
All right. So the first thing that we are going to talk about is the NXT TakeOver Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
And I figure we would start talking a little bit match by match. First match that they had was Sanity versus Ty Dillinger, Roderick Strong, Ruby Riott, and what was supposed to be No Way Jose, but because he was attacked during Access, ended up being Cassius Ohno.
Yes.
I like the match. Had a little bit of a problem with it in that pretty much all they had Nikki Cross and Ruby Riott do during the match was basically just tackle each other and do kind of catfight stuff for the majority of the match. I mean, they had some spots, if I remember correctly, there was one point where Ruby Riott dove to the outside to attack Nikki Cross. But other than that, they didn't do too much. I like the fact they included Cassius Ohno. It was definitely a surprise. I was not expecting that. But then again, I didn't realize at the time that No Way Jose wasn't involved. But I overall enjoyed the match. I thought it was a nice send-off for Ty Dillinger that he did a good amount of stuff, and it took a double team at the end of the match to finally take him out.
Mm. Yes.
What are your thoughts?
Well, I actually didn't get to catch that match, unfortunately. It was 2 of the matches I didn't get to catch at TakeOver. But I kind of knew what was going to happen. I kind of knew it was that Dillinger was going to eat the loss or whatever. Yeah. Dillinger's team was going to lose because Dillinger's on his way out, as we all know, from SmackDown now. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm glad that Killian Dane, formerly known as Big Man Damo from What Culture Pro Wrestling in the UK indie scene, I'm glad that he was the one who got the pinfall.
Yeah, that was very nice.
That was really cool. And that he went on to be in the WrestleMania 33 Battle Royal, which we'll talk about later.
The Giant Memorial Battle Royal.
But those are my thoughts there. Really nothing much to add there.
It was a good match overall, but I mean, there were a lot more interesting matches throughout the weekend.
Yes. And my 2 minutes is up. So, as I come up with the controller and I go to Raw, my second draft pick, I am going to go with the man, Seth Rollins.
I had a feeling.
So there's my second pick. Dennis, you are on the clock for another 2 more minutes, or do you want to just do the rounds back to back?
Oh, well, I already know who my second pick is going to be.
All right.
I've been thinking about this for a little while now. Are you ready?
Who is it going to be?
My second pick is AJ Styles again. No, I'm kidding. Yeah. My second pick is, if I can find him. Yeah, gotta keep going. The Destroyer Samoa Joe.
Oh, Samoa Joe going early.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of wanted Joe, but I didn't want to draft him that early.
Yeah, well, I did. I got some plans, man.
Alrighty then. Okay. So we'll start the timer off for the next round, and then...
Alright, so the next match that occurred was Aleister Black versus Andrade Cien Almas.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I want to point out. With Almas, pretty much every match they've put him in, since the beginning, I've always cheered for the other person. But that's mostly because of the fact that they were doing things like, oh, it's him versus, I believe one time was Bobby Roode.
Mm-hmm.
And while he's not really a face, a lot of people love Bobby Roode. And they just kept putting him in match after match after guys that I liked more than Andrade. But I think he is a great wrestler. And I really liked what they did with him in this match. He did a lot of interesting stuff. I like his kind of showmanship, how he kept doing his little pose on the ground and stuff a lot. And Aleister Black, formerly Tommy End, he really impressed me, especially with, as I had pointed out to you before the show, when he faked a dive to the outside and he kind of just bounced off the middle rope on his 2 feet, not doing like Sami Zayn would of like kind of hitting his legs on the top rope, literally jumped directly onto the middle rope and jumped off of it that way. I was very impressed with that. I liked his Black Mass kick finisher. It was pretty nice. I think he's going to bring some interesting stuff to the NXT roster.
Not bad. I really don't have much. That's the other match I missed from NXT TakeOver. I caught the rest of the show after that. I was in New Jersey with my friends, and they had already started watching, so I didn't want to like make them have to go back in the on demand. So again, pretty much what I expected. Aleister Black to shine. Cien Almas to eat the pin.
The
eat
one
the loss.
thing that is bothering me though is after the match. I don't know if you even heard about this. They did this thing. They mentioned it on this week's NXT. How apparently after the match, Andrade went out and was celebrating with a bunch of females, I'll say, just in a bar, just drinking and stuff and having a good time. And they started talking about how he had just lost a match and doesn't seem to care, and wondering if he actually cares that much about his NXT career. And it's making me a little nervous because I like Andrade. And the last time I remember them doing something similar to this was when they did the whole bull fit thing with Bull Dempsey.
Oh, no.
And he's no longer around.
Yeah, that was not a good use of Bull Dempsey, in my opinion.
So I'm hoping that they, have a plan of what to do with Andrade from here. I mean, and I hope that's not a sign of things to come like they did with Bull Dempsey, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, Andrade's a good worker. He just it's hard to find him charismatic. Like, he doesn't have a ton of charisma, like, to me. Like, and I think that has to do more with the character they've given him.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, that's one of the reasons I like this match, is because they started showing more of him just, like, being like, oh, look at me, I don't have to work that hard, I could beat you easily, like, showing off a lot. So I like that they started showing a little bit more personality with him in this last match. Yeah. But we'll see where they go with them from here. I'm sure Aleister Black is going to start getting a pretty healthy push from here.
Yeah. And with that, it is time for the third pick, the third round in the draft. And I am going to pick somebody in particular. I mean, it is technically his show after all. Once it'll take me up to him.
Is it who I think it is?
KO Kevin Owens. Oh. It's the Kevin Owens show, and Kevin Owens is staying.
Oh, God. That hurts.
KO, Rollins, and Nakamura. Yeah, that's right. I got the good show. I got the goods.
God, that hurts so much.
That's what you get for drafting Joe second.
Well, I'm still happy with that.
Okay.
All right. Who am I gonna go with next? Who? I don't know. I'm debating between a few people.
Do you want me to start the timer and we can start talking about other stuff?
Go do it.
All right, we're gonna start the 2-minute timer. All right, and then next match.
I see that book.
Yes.
Thank you.
That has a list of all the people who have been drafted and who are available.
All right. So the next match that happened on NXT TakeOver was the tag team title match. The current champions, Authors of Pain, retained against the Revival and DIY, in which seemed to be the Revival send-off show before they went up to Mania, or to the main roster. Sorry, you saw that match, you said, correct?
Yes, I did.
Right.
Best match of the night.
I
Hands down.
agree 100% with that.
Mhm.
I think one of my favorite parts of that match was when who was it exactly? I believe it was Scott Dawson and Johnny Gargano did DIY's finisher to, I believe it was a.k.a, and then Razor ate the Shatter Machine from Ciampa and Dash.
Yeah.
So I like the fact that they kind of teamed up and had one member of each team work together to hit the other team's finisher kind of thing. I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah, it was great. That whole, those two teams realizing and they had such a history realizing, just they had to work together, work through their hatred in order to take out these monsters was great. However, as much as I love that match, it was amazing. The spots in it, like that table spot where it took all four of them to take him out, the combined finishers, the submissions on both members.
Yeah, that was another spot I really liked. Yeah.
I mean, I understand that Revival was on their way out, and I understand the logic of you want to keep them in the match the longest since they're swan song in NXT. But if they're on their way out, you want to make them look the weakest. Yeah, and instead you made DIY look the weakest by having him lose, and then you made Authors of Pain look borderline unstoppable by beating both of them despite all the damage that they took. And it makes me think, DIY, what are you going to do with them in NXT now? Because they're, I look at that match and I'm like, I don't see them as viable title contenders as long as Authors of Pain holds the titles now. So, the only thing I can think is, they'll maybe be a placeholder until TM61 heals up and comes back, or they'll be... Or maybe, what's their names? The big team, the other big team. Unless Heavy Machinery is going to challenge them.
And you've also got the Bollywood Boys coming in from Cruiserweight. I like them.
I like the Bollywood Boys, but the way they've been getting built,
yeah,
they are not being booked as championship contenders, at least not yet.
Yeah, I mean, with that match, I think my biggest complaint about it was the fact that they just made Authors of Pain so beast. I mean, you had the spot where Razor got put through the table by all four guys of the other teams, and then you had them both hit with the other two teams' finishers, and then you even had that spot where I think it was Razor was I think it was a.k.a. actually was held in two different submission holds at once, and he held on for so long until his partner could come in after taking all those hits, and just tackle the other two people into them to break up the submission. I think that's a little overpowering of those guys.
It was a little overkill. I'm fine with Authors of Pain being a monster team, but they looked like almost Brothers of Destruction level unstoppable. I mean, where it's it doesn't matter what you throw at them, they're gonna eventually shrug it off and steamroll through you.
Yeah, I mean, if they did something like all those different kinds of things, if they did that whole table spot in another match at some point down the road and not include it necessarily in this one, I would have appreciated it more, but just the overwhelming power of these guys in this match was just a little hard to swallow.
Yeah. So. But your 2 minutes is up, so have you decided who you want?
I have. I am going to go with the first tag team pick of the draft.
Okay. You going with Gallows and Anderson?
Yes, I am. I'm going to go with Gallows and Anderson to bring the Shield together. As much as I want to pick a different tag
bring
team.
the club together, not the Shield.
Yeah, sorry, you're right. The club, yeah. You're the one who has a chance of that, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, there he is. Carl Anderson.
And then Luke Gallows.
Went past. Yeah, there, Luke Gallows.
All right. And
Tex Sex Ferguson.
I already know who I'm going to pick next in response to that, so I'm just going to go ahead and do my pick next. Since you took your tag team, I'm going to take my team.
Oh, don't you dare.
Yeah, I dare. I dare. Where is he? There we go. Jeff and Matt, the Hardy Boys. That's what I'm taking.
All right. Yeah.
What is that? Who you?
I thought you were gonna pick the other team I was mentioned before that I was considering.
What, Sanity?
No, you forgot. So that's a good surprise.
The Wyatts, the Shield. You can't take the Shield. The Revival.
Yes.
Oh no, I want the Hardys. Matt and Jeff. Those are two guys who are a tag team right now, and they could be single stars.
I agree, but man, the Revival, they're so good, which is part of the reason I love that tag.
Oh, I know. All right. So we'll start the timer for another 2 minutes unless you know what you're gonna pick right now.
I think I know what I'm gonna pick right now.
All right.
I need more single stars, so I am going to go with the Lunatic Fringe.
Oh, there goes the Shield reunion.
Yep. Where is he?
You went past him.
Oh, yeah,
right there.
Dean Ambrose.
All right, cool. I know who I'm gonna pick, but we'll move the discussion along and we'll move on. Oh god. Okay, it's back. All right, we're back. The audio's back. I just got to do this. Pick this point.
That was a little scary. I'll keep my arms away from the table.
Yeah, please do not hit the arms of the table. All right, and then we'll hit record. And now it's resuming from a different audio track. Okay. Cool. That was a close one. We almost lost the mic.
I apologize.
But okay. So women's title match.
Yes, it was defending champion Asuka against Ember Moon. Two people. Asuka has been around for over a year and has held the title for about the year. They actually mentioned that she is the longest reigning champion in all of NXT. And she was facing Ember Moon, who has never been pinned or submitted. And her only losses have been in things like tag team matches. I think a triple threat match as well. But she has never herself lost. A lot of people thinking that this is when Ember Moon was going to take over. That was not the case, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I don't think Ember Moon was she's been getting groomed for the NXT Women's Championship since she debuted, but I don't think she is quote unquote ready, I guess to say the phrase, for lack of a better phrase. Yeah. She needed more time to build more of a rivalry with Asuka, I think, and to establish herself more. Like I've never been too super high on Ember Moon, but somebody has to take out Asuka, and my bets were on Nikki Cross, but I don't think it's gonna be Nikki Cross. I think it's gonna be Ember Moon, and then you're gonna have Ember battling the likes of Nikki Cross and Billie Kay and Peyton Royce for the NXT title, and I think this did exactly what it needed to do. It showed a chink in Asuka's armor, which made her not look as unbeatable now to Ember, which allows Ember the opportunity to win the championship, say, or come take over Brooklyn, and then Asuka can go up to the main roster. Yeah, that's what I believe.
I think they're doing a takeover before that. I mean, I was a little upset by Ember Moon losing, but that's also because of the fact that I was expecting Asuka to end up coming up to the main roster over the course of Raw or SmackDown, something like that. But apparently, that's not the plan. But as far as Ember Moon is concerned, in like whether or not she's ready to face Asuka, I think she is ready to take the title off Asuka. I think what the main issue is, it kind of rushed the story a little bit with trying to get them together, and now with this whole finish that they did, they have more of a chance to build a better story. But also the fact that I just don't feel like the rest of the women's division is ready to try and step it up for when Ember Moon would eventually win and Asuka eventually leaves.
You don't think so? I think Peyton and Billie have been building themselves up nicely.
They've been building themselves up, but I mean, there's been a couple times where Asuka has taken them down single-handedly, and just the whole way they've been running that division, it seems like there's, Asuka on the very top, then there's Ember Moon right below her, and then down below the two of them is everyone else on the same level after that. At least the way they've been building it. I mean, especially with people like Nikki Cross. I mean, she's good, but she's just been doing stuff with Sanity. I mean, she was in the one Fatal 4-Way match for the titles, but other than that, she's just been kind of doing stuff with Sanity. And, I mean, like I said, they've just been kind of having everyone else go against each other and kind of putting those other two as the unstoppable winning machines. And everyone else has been eating a defeat every here and there, so.
Yeah. I mean, I think it'll be fine. If you have Ember Moon beat Asuka, and technically you've had Peyton and Billie cause multiple problems for Ember in the past, and I believe that they've made Ember look beatable to Peyton and Billie. Plus, you've got Nikki Cross, and she's unhinged. She's a wild card. The only thing that took her out was being suplexed through an announce table.
That's true, yeah.
So I think the women's division is in a good place right now. I think it's building well.
Not to mention, it's probably going to be building more because they announced that 32 women tournament over the summer, like they did with the Cruiserweight Classic.
Yep, and who knows who's going to be in that one.
That's true.
All right, so we are up to the next round. And
touch the cord.
I think I know who I'm going to take next. I am going to draft with my next pick. I don't know why it doesn't transition over for me when I do this. Oh, there. I'm going to take someone who is a king, but not a king of kings. Someone who is a demon king. Finn Balor is my next pick.
Good choice.
So, do you know who you're going to take?
Yeah, I think just before you steal him, I'm going to go with the next tag team of the draft, and that's going to be the Revival. I just absolutely love these guys. I can't let them get away.
So that is your one NXT call up for the draft. Oh no, you're not. That's right.
No, they debuted on Monday Night
man,
Raw.
damn it.
Yeah, they kicked over.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. They debuted on Raw. They beat up. Who was it?
They beat up the New Day. They kicked over their cart and they answered their open challenge and they beat him in a match. And afterwards, they attacked Kofi Kingston.
Okay. Cool. All right. So we will move on. Now we're on to the main event of NXT TakeOver down Orlando.
The defending champion Bobby Roode against the King of Strong Style Shinsuke Nakamura,
which, in my opinion, was underwhelming. I was not real like that is the first, and I've been watching Shinsuke for the last couple of years while he is in New Japan. Well, like I've watched his Wrestle Kingdom matches, and I've been watching him since he's in NXT. That's why I'm so high on him. That's why I picked him first in our Universe draft. That is the first match I've seen of his where I was like, that wasn't that good.
You see, the thing is, I thought it was a good match. It's just with the quality of matches that these guys have been having in the past.
True. Yeah, that's more accurate.
I just don't think it was at the same level that we've seen these guys been wrestling at the past. I thought it was a good match. One of the things I liked was the little glorious DDT that Bobby Roode hit where he was on the second turnbuckle.
Yeah, the finish was freaking amazing. That was awesome.
That. I liked how it added extra momentum, made the move more powerful. I really liked that. Other than that, I can't really think of too many specific things that happened in the match. Like, there weren't that many memorable moments.
It was like some basic moves. Roode worked Shinsuke's knee for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, there was some nice stuff at the beginning where, like, Shinsuke was telling him, come on! And he was just like, no. And did his whole glorious thing, and Shinsuke, like, stuff like that. I remember it was good, but, I mean, other than that, it was a good match, but it wasn't a memorable match.
Yeah, the dueling pianos entrance was cool, though.
That was really cool.
That was really cool.
Love me some Bobby Roode.
Yes. Bobby Roode.
I am excited.
Glorious.
To see where they go from here with Bobby Roode.
Yes. And so that is NXT TakeOver Orlando, and we are about to enter into another round of draft picks. So we'll do the next round, then we'll move on to WrestleMania 33. So let's see. Who do I want now? I'm trying to think. Who do I want? I want Meek now. Yes, I'm aware that the timer's up. Stop it. Bad. Dismiss. Let's see. You know what? Just because this will make this would make a better transition into Raw than into WrestleMania if I pick him. I really haven't figured out in the 2 minutes who I want. I'm debating between a couple people.
Well, I could bring up the next topic if you want while you do this.
I think I know who I'm going to go for, and I might get a lot of heat for this. But
Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah, see how I try to like transition? There we go. Now it's working a little bit. I'm going to go for somebody who has some nuclear heat right now because he may have retired The Undertaker. I'm going with the big dog. It's his yard now. Roman Reigns.
If it makes you feel better.
2/3 of the Shield.
I was actually considering making him my next pick.
So I took that from you. So do you have a pick or do you want to move into WrestleMania?
I'm pretty sure I could pick someone pretty quickly.
Okay.
Got some ideas. All right. Just gonna do it quick. You know what? Yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead with this. I'm gonna go and do my NXT call.
Calling up Bobby Roode to finish up TakeOver.
Roode, yeah.
Bobby Roode. All All right, so you have your NXT call-up. So Bobby Roode will not be our NXT champion.
No.
We're going to have to determine that in a match on the first edition of NXT.
Which, one thing I want to throw in quickly, part of the reason I'm doing this, one of the problems I had with NXT TakeOver Orlando is the fact that they debuted brand new titles for these champions.
It's pretty good.
Every champion retained. I kind of feel like when you do something like that, it's usually a sign of like a new era, and it's, all the same people.
That's something I actually wanted to tweet out last year. Or wanted to tweet out on Twitter. Fun fact, last year at the WrestleMania TakeOver, every single title changed hands. This year, not a single one.
That's true, yeah.
Last year, Asuka took it from Bayley, DIY took it from the Revival, and what was it? And Balor took it from Joe, right? Was Joe the champion then? Or was... No, Balor was... No, only two of them changed hands, because I think Balor faced Joe, right? And and Balor retained over Joe? Yeah. All right, so I'm wrong.
Okay.
So I'm wrong. Two of them changed hands last year.
But yeah, still definitely a different thing from last year with titles changing hands and all that.
Mm-hmm. I remember that night because I saw Joe in the elevator the next day, and he was nice enough to introduce himself. And I'm like, "How's your nose?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm fine."
There you go.
So WrestleMania was a thing that happened this weekend.
Yep, and so was the pre-show.
Mm-hmm.
In which the first match that they did was the Cruiserweight title. King of the Cruiserweights, Neville versus the greatest man that ever lived, Austin Aries.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, I thought it was a great match. I thoroughly enjoyed it, especially since it was on the pre-show. It was a good match for the pre-show.
Mm-hmm.
Neville won. I was expecting that.
Yep.
It would have been nice to see Aries win, but I'm just as happy with Neville winning. I thought it was a great match, and I think wherever it goes from here is going to be good.
Yeah, I think that match was exactly what I thought it was going to be. It was awesome. It was definitely one of the best matches of the night. Aries shined. Neville shined. Neville retained.
I liked the finish.
What was it again? I'm trying to remember.
Aries had Neville in the last chancery, and Neville raked
tore his eye out. Yeah.
And then hit him with the red arrow.
Yeah, that was great. Yes, very good.
Good finish of the match.
Mm-hmm. Yes, good start off to the match. And then we had the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal.
Yep.
Which was a thing.
It was a thing. It is a thing that in fact happened. A thing that happened that I have somewhat of an issue with. That it's a thing that happened. Because the winner of the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal this year is the same guy who 2 nights before at the Hall of Fame ceremony was wearing a blue and white zebra striped suit at the Hall of Fame ceremony.
But that's how he stays hype.
Mojo Rawley won. And I was looking at it, you had all these different people. I was expecting possibly Sami Zayn to pull it out of nowhere. Maybe they'd have Samoa Joe thrown in there. Maybe he would win. Maybe Braun Strowman would win, something like that. But they went with Mojo Rawley, in which I don't really see where that's coming from.
I see exactly where that's coming from, and I honestly don't have as much of a problem with it. It's the fact that Mojo is Rob Gronkowski's boy.
Yeah.
And basically what WWE saw is they saw that Mojo was good friends with Gronk. Gronk's a Super Bowl champion, even though I'm pretty sure he was hurt when the Super Bowl was won by the Patriots. Yeah, he was. But he's a multiple-time Super Bowl winning champion. And you have a chance of putting him in the front row and getting him on WrestleMania and creating a bunch of headlines.
Yeah, exactly. They did it entirely just to do that, I think.
And I think they do have some sort of faith in Mojo. The Mojo is going to become something. And Mojo's a super, super nice, polite guy.
He's a nice guy. It's just
the
gimmick, and he doesn't have that diverse of a moveset.
Yeah. He needs work before I feel like he can be considered a threat for singles titles.
Yeah, I think I would have been better with it if I wasn't thinking of him mostly as, oh, look, that's Zack Ryder's tag team partner.
Yeah. But I didn't have much of a problem with it. I saw where it was coming from. It did create a cool moment with Gronkowski. It is disappointing, though, that it wasn't Strowman or Harper or Sami Zayn
Harper would have been good.
Who came out of that. But at least big Killian Dane shined. He was in the final 3 and he got a lot of eliminations. So that was really cool to see.
Yeah, I'm glad that he was in that match.
Mm-hmm. And so that is the pre-show.
There was
Is
one
it?
more match
Was
on
there
the
one?
pre-show.
Oh yeah, that's right. The Intercontinental Championship match. We'll do that before we get to our next
which,
round.
Unfortunately, is a match I did not get to see because I was on my way home from work.
It was okay. Ambrose retained, which I did not see coming. I thought they were going to crown Corbin. I felt like the moment was right to crown Corbin at WrestleMania. You had him win the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal last year. What a 1-2 punch to have him win the Intercontinental Championship that very next year.
Yeah.
But looks like they're going to slow burn this rivalry a little bit between the two of them and have Corbin win eventually. But I mean,
they had a good match with them on SmackDown afterwards.
Yes, as far as the match was concerned, it was good. It was nothing like incredible. It wasn't better than the Cruiserweight match, but it was still good. It was solid. Really nothing else that I have really to say about it. It did its thing.
Corbin's good.
Corbin's good. Dean's good. I didn't expect Dean to win it, but it's interesting. We'll get to see where that goes from here on out now.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, it is time for another pick, another round. I think I'm going to stay in the singles realm for now, and I am a big fan of this guy.
Greg Valentine?
Nope. He's a fan of ska music and ice hockey. And he had one hell of a match with my first overall pick last year. Mm-hmm. So I want to see these two beat each other up again on the same show. Sammy, as I transition over because you guys can't see it, Sami Zayn, you are a member of the Red Brand still.
There you go.
I got Sammy. So, you got a pick in mind or you want to wait?
Not yet. Let me see the book.
All right, we'll start the timer. I'll give you the book. And then we will move on to the main show of WrestleMania, which the first match involved one of your favorite superstars of all time, who is a McMahon, and your first overall pick, or your first pick, second overall pick. Shane McMahon versus AJ Styles, which was a barn burner.
Yeah,
like one hell of a hot opener. Like I did not like. I love Shane. Shane's really great, and AJ Styles is the best wrestler in the world right now. But after the Hell in a Cell match last year, I had a feeling that Shane may not want to be like getting himself like doing too much intense stuff, and I didn't know if he could go like that because it was like rough with the Undertaker.
Yeah.
Which now looking back at this WrestleMania as a whole might be more on Undertaker than on Shane.
Oh yeah.
But man, was that a hell of a match!
That
like
was a
god
very good match.
damn, I was watching it with a bunch of my friends in Jersey, like I said, and we all went nuts for a lot of those spots. The coast to coast, the one that Shane hit and the one that Shane blocked AJ with was sick as hell. Of course, the missed elbow drop because Shane always misses the elbow drop to the table now.
Yep.
That was really cool. And then the finish with the phenomenal forearm was good.
Yeah, it was good.
The fact that Shane McMahon busted out a shooting star press.
Yeah, I remember. I'm never gonna forget the people I was watching it with. I looked at it and I just went, Shane, no, you have a family. Please don't kill you. Just don't kill yourself. Just don't pull a Brock Lesnar. Just don't do that and it'll be fine. And he did it and he missed, but I was like, he didn't die.
He landed it perfectly.
He landed it perfectly on the mat.
I was sitting there, I saw him go up and I'm like, I don't know what he's gonna do. I don't know what Shane's gonna do. And somebody said shooting star. I'm like, no way.
As soon as he started going up, I knew it because I was like, I don't think he's going to jump off the roller coaster. A lot of people were making jokes he's going to jump off the roller coaster. I didn't think he was going to do that. Dumb. So I was like, he's going to try just a ridiculous flippy move, and I figured he was going to go for that.
But yeah, I think that was quite possibly, arguably, best match of Mania.
Yeah, I think
is from a sheer wrestling. If you combine the wrestling and the sports and entertainment aspects, I think that was the best match. I think from an entertainment standpoint, when we get to it, the Raw Tag Team match, I think, was better. And when you get to a pure wrestling standpoint, you could potentially argue that the Cruiserweight title match was better. But a combination of the two, that's WrestleMania right there. That is sports entertainment. That's WWE. So it's time for your next pick now. What are you going to go with?
I'm going to go with as of this weekend, a now 13-time WWE World Champion. I'm gonna go with the Viper, Randy Orton.
Okay.
Figure it's good to get some guy who's got a little bit of
prestige.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not too big.
Third generation superstar.
I'm not too huge on Randy right now. He's a good worker and he's one of the best of all time. But I think it's more. I'm not so high on him because of the way that his match turned out. at WrestleMania, which may not be entirely his fault. But that's not the match we got to talk about next. The next match was Chris Jericho versus Kevin Owens, which was the other competitor, I think, maybe for best match.
Whenever you've got those two working together, it's just from...
It was gold.
I mean, I feel like this is one thing that you have to talk about, and it's going to be the first thing I have to point out. The finger. Mm-hmm. Kevin Owens saving himself with his finger.
With his index finger.
I lost it.
That was amazing.
I loved it. And I love that Jericho incorporated what he initially came to WWE when he came back with, of the light up jacket with his new thing of the scarf, of the light up scarf. Loved it.
Jericho's a genius. He's one of the best of all time.
And for the first time in a while, we've seen him actually hit the lion salt.
Yeah, it only took 3 attempts, but he finally hit it. Yeah, that was a great match. Again, that was probably actually the second best match when you combine everything of the night, behind AJ Styles and Shane McMahon. The finish was brutal. Mm-hmm. Fitting, but brutal.
Yeah, powerbomb on the apron.
Mm-hmm. I felt like maybe KO should have had an exclamation point of the pop-up powerbomb in there.
Yeah, I thought that would have been nice to do a little extra thing.
It was still cool, and I loved all of Kevin Owens' insults to Jericho throughout the match, you don't have any friends, and stuff like that. So, great stuff all around there.
I was very happy with it. Huge fan of Jericho, had been for a while. Huge fan of Owens. And I don't know what it is, but I just really love the United States Championship. It just is of all the titles, it's one of my favorites that they've got in WWE. Not one of the most prestigious, but I just really like that title. I think it has to do with things like, we've seen now Dean Ambrose has been the longest reigning United States champion of all time. And it's a title where we could easily see sometime in our lifetime someone else becoming a longest reigning champ. Unlike with the WWE title, where, Bruno Sammartino held it for literally years. With the United States Championship, we actually have a chance to see someone hold that for over a year and beat Dean Ambrose's record, and possibly even see something where Dean Ambrose is the challenger to try and stop them. I think that'd make a good storyline. It's just something that I always really liked, is that United States Championship, so that made it that much sweeter for me, that match.
Yeah. Okay, so before we move on to the Women's Championship match, it's time for another draft pick. And you went with somebody who has won a lot of championships in his career.
I think I know who you're going with.
So I'm going to go with somebody who has tied Ric Flair.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
He has won so many championships that they call him the champ, John Cena.
Yeah, I know this doesn't come up until later in the show, but why was Nikki Bella crying? She was just looking at an empty ring later in the night.
It was a magic trick.
Oh,
it was a magic trick. Have you seen that Photoshop photo, by the way?
No.
There's a photo out there of Cena proposing to Nikki Bella, but Cena's been cropped out, so there's nothing there, and it's Nikki Bella reacting. And it says, "Oh, look, Cena's proposing to Nikki." Because you can't see him. It's a joke, and I explained it, so it's dead.
Yep.
All right, your turn.
All right. I think I have an idea. I think... Yeah, I thought I knew, but...
Now you're not sure?
Yeah, I'm not sure. You know what? I'm gonna just go with my gut.
Bushwhacker Luke.
You caught me. I'm getting the Bushwhackers. Nah, I'm going to go with the now former WWE champion, Bray Wyatt.
Gonna keep that angle hot. Having Bray and Randy on there.
I am personally a big fan of Bray. I'll talk more about that later when it gets to that match.
Okay. Now moving on to our next topic, we are at the Women's Championship match, which was a really, really good match.
I liked it. I think the very beginning was my favorite part because going to that match, I was really rooting for Nia. She never got a chance to hold the title in NXT like the other 3 women did. She hadn't really gotten too many chances since she's been up to the main roster. I was really hoping to see her show her strength and everything and come through and win that title. She was kind of, like I said, I was a little surprised by it at first, but I was really excited to see what she could do in that match. And while she didn't win, I really love the fact that they showed that it took 3 people doing a couple of triple team moves on her in order to have all three of them at the same time pin her to eliminate her.
Yeah.
I liked it because it didn't damage her at all.
Oh, no, it kept her very safe.
Exactly, and that goes to show that they'll be able to do some more stuff with her down the line, and I'm really excited to see what they do. I feel like they might be a quick little thing, the Superstar Shakeup thing they're going to be doing. I think they might end up moving her to SmackDown, and I think that could be a good thing for SmackDown's women's division.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think Nia did really well. I didn't want Nia to win, so I felt like it wasn't her time yet. Because she had only just inserted herself out of nowhere after battling and losing to Sasha Banks in the Women's Championship angle. And I'm like, I feel like it was too soon for her. I feel like maybe like another couple months down the road, not even like SummerSlam, but like maybe 2-3 months down the road, if she has a championship, fine by me. It just feels like she inserted herself in, and it's like the only legitimate person you've really faced outside of Alicia Fox is Sasha, and you lost. So I'm like, where is that for you for credibility? But WrestleMania helped build up the fact that she is a legitimate threat. She needs to be taken seriously. And now I feel like at any point in time, she could probably take the championship and it'd be fitting. I was really hoping for Sasha to win. I was one of the people who was hoping for the Sasha turning on Bayley in the middle of the match and winning the championship and healing out and getting that rivalry started. But maybe they're waiting until SummerSlam or like next Mania for that to happen.
I mean, just gonna throw out, if Nia wasn't going to win, my next pick to win was going to be Bayley. And the reason for that is because of the fact of, I like Charlotte. I like Sasha. Everyone in this match is a great competitor.
Yes.
But, I mean, how long have they been up from NXT? And Charlotte's already the longest reigning champion. And she's also held it how many times? Sasha's already held it how many times? I feel like they're just so rapidly changing the title between these two that they're just racking up titles. And it's going to be at a point where it's going to be like, oh, well, here comes Charlotte Flair, 21-time women's champion versus Sasha Banks, 19-time women's champion at WrestleMania, 36 or something like that. Not actually going to happen, but just the fact that they had been doing it and they've already got enough titles under their belt, I'm glad to see that they're actually keeping the title on someone for a little longer.
Yeah, I'm fine with Bayley winning. My only issue is that if you're going to have Bayley win like this and beat Charlotte, why did you have her win the title earlier? And why did you ever beat Charlotte at Roadblock?
If I remember correctly, she had the title going into it.
No, she didn't. Bayley won it on a Raw before Roadblock.
I know, but I'm saying I'm pretty sure Bayley had the title going into Roadblock.
My point,
and it's a matter of what I was saying of, well, Charlotte had just lost it. She's going to just win it back to just lose it again.
This is my point. If you're going to have Bayley win that match and win the championship and beat Charlotte, be the last one to do it, why not keep the title on Charlotte through Roadblock, defeat Bayley at Roadblock, and then you have Bayley overcoming the odds, beating 3 other people after losing to Charlotte and beating Charlotte to win the championship to a overjoyed. That crowd would have exploded if she had won it at WrestleMania, if you'd built that story like that. And then Charlotte's streak is finally broken when it matters, when it means something at WrestleMania.
I agree. That would have made more sense. But we have the cards that were dealt.
Yes. Speaking of cards, these
that
players are like cards. And I am going to go ahead and move on to this next round of draft picks. And I am going to go ahead, and I haven't picked a tag team in a while, so I'm going to pick a tag team.
All right. I'm
going to pick a tag team that was formerly of NXT, former NXT champions, now on SmackDown Live.
I was about to say, are they the realest guys in the room?
No. I'm getting American Alpha.
Very good choice.
Jason Jordan and Shad Gable. So that way I now have 2 tag teams. And I know you must feel bad because I kind of just ruined your hopes of reviving a Revival American Alpha rivalry.
I'm sure I'll figure something out. You know what? I'm going to ask you for a little help here.
All right.
Should I go with our first women's pick, or should I go with a secondary pick that I have in mind?
We haven't drafted a woman, so I might regret this, but draft a woman.
I will do the first woman of the draft.
Okay.
And I am going to have to
You just finished talking about the women's match, so it's fitting.
No. I'm just going to have to go with...
You're going to pick Bayley, aren't you?
I'm going to pick Charlotte Flair.
Wow. Yeah. Charlotte.
I mean, she only has 1 loss at pay-per-view. She's held the title several times.
All right, well then, I'm going to go ahead and make my next pick immediately since I need to draft a woman. And I'm going to take Bailey.
Oh, I thought you were going to go with someone else.
Sasha?
Yeah.
I think I'll go with Bailey. And we'll see what happens.
I think we're about to have a little bit of rapid fire because I think I know who I'm taking next.
Who are you taking next?
I am now going to pick my next female wrestler's choice. My favorite from the
Sasha?
SmackDown brand. I'm going to pick Alexa Bliss.
Ah, nice. Alexa Bliss. Well, the rapid fire is going to continue because I want to lock up that women's rivalry. So I am going to go ahead and I'm going to draft Sasha now. Back-to-back ladies picks. I was close. I kind of want to get Becky, but you know that Sasha Bailey rivalry is just too much.
Oh, yeah.
I really love Becky, but I'm going to go ahead. Now we've got our women picks in there. It's technically your turn next in this round, so if you want to pick again, you can go ahead and pick again.
I already know what I'm going to do. It's an unconventional choice. I think a lot of people are going to question me on this, but I have big plans for this.
Is he a big guy?
It's not a guy. It's a tag team. And it's a tag team that I don't think anyone would have picked this high up if it wasn't for the idea that I have.
Are you getting the realest guys in the room now?
No, I am not.
Are you picking the New Day?
No. I'm going to pick the Fashion Police.
I'm
going to pick
Breezango. Wow, that's a shocking pick for this high.
Yeah. Well, the reason for it is because, hey, it's a, they're not the best tag team, but they are a tag team. And that Tyler Breeze, man.
Okay.
Tyler Breeze is something else in my opinion.
All right. I kind of think I know who I want to pick next. I got to start marking people off. But I'll think about it because I have a gut reaction who I want to draft, but I'll wait on it and we'll start the next part of this. We move on now to the Raw Tag Team Championship match.
I texted you about that.
Yeah, and I was 2 hours behind on WrestleMania at that moment. Let me tell you, I knew it was going to happen, but when that music hit, I felt like a teenager again.
Same.
And everybody around me, like I was at this, I was hanging out with a bunch of my friends, and they all, bunch of 20 pushing 30 somethings, just erupted. We were all sitting down calm, and we're the type of guys where we'll shout and scream, but we will never get up and jump around. Mm-hmm. Jumped out of their seats, hugging each other, high-fiving each other. It started a holy SH you know what chant holy at the place we're watching. Yeah. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, when I was watching it, it was me with my wife, who's not a big fan of wrestling, friend of mine, Mr. Christopher. I don't know if I want to say his last name, but I think he knows who I'm talking about, seeing as he's the only other guy that was there. And his girlfriend, who also didn't seem to be a big fan. And me and Chris, we both reacted to it. But my wife looked at me and she was like, "You're very happy right now, aren't you?" I was like, "I have not seen these guys wrestle on this show in a long time. I am so happy." And she was just happy seeing how happy I was by it. But that was a huge surprise. And one thing I want to point out quickly, I don't think we've actually said the name yet. It was the Hardy Boys coming out that caused us to react that way.
Yes, Matt and Jeff.
My friend Chris actually pointed out that the Young Bucks took to Twitter and they were like, "Wait, what just happened?" Seeing as how they had just earlier in the weekend faced
and took the titles off of them.
And took the titles off of them, and they were just like, "So what does that make us now?" So,
yeah, right.
I enjoyed that.
The match.
Yeah, you go ahead.
I texted my girlfriend with a photo of it because she doesn't watch wrestling now, but she used to when she was a teenager. She was super huge in the Hardys and Lita like we were when we were teenagers. And so I sent her the image saying "Look who just came back at WrestleMania 33 and won the Raw Tag Team titles." And she's like, "You got to be effing kidding me." Yep. She's like, "No way." It was ridiculous. And the match itself, it was good. It was cool, but the finish was awesome. It was awesome seeing Jeff basically murder himself a la WrestleMania X7, and then Matt grabbing the belts and winning. And I believe that is the first WrestleMania victory ever for Jeff Hardy.
Really?
Yeah, he's lost all of his singles matches. He lost to Matt at 25, and the Hardys as a tag team had never won the titles before WrestleMania. They lost to Edge and Christian, and I believe the Dudley Boys or Edge and Christian back-to-back years.
I think so, yeah. But just going to point out, for those who are just joining on the stream right now, we're doing a draft, and I myself am going to be the general manager of SmackDown.
Unstoppable. What's up, Unstoppable?
Al Murpho here is going to be the general manager of Raw.
Yes. I'm just going through right now. You took Tyler Breeze. I know who I'm going to pick because I can't believe this person is actually still there on the board.
There's a lot of people that I'm surprised are still on the board.
And yeah, I'm just looking over everything now, and I'm like, I can't believe this person's still here. That got drafted, he got drafted. Almost ready.
Interesting.
That's everybody. So, what do you think between a program against two former IWGP World Heavyweight Champions, and one of which isn't AJ Styles because you drafted him, and one of them is Shinsuke Nakamura because I drafted him?
It's a guy who, honestly, not gonna lie, I thought you had already picked.
Yeah, I didn't.
I forgot.
But he is the man, the beast, the conqueror, Brock Lesnar.
Actually,
that's not who you thought I was going to take? No, I took Brock Lesnar. Think about it. Shinsuke Nakamura versus Brock Lesnar, man.
Let me just see this for a second. I just want to double check something quickly.
Who are you going to take?
Well, I feel like you may have actually picked it. Yep, okay, yeah. I forgot that you had already picked Finn Balor. And that's
I took Balor. Oh, yeah, I took Balor.
All right.
Balor wasn't an IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, though. He was in New Japan, but I don't think he ever won any championship in there.
I don't think so. That you didn't mark off one of my picks.
Oh, Luke Gallows.
That's cool. Yep.
That's the only one I missed.
All right. Let's see. You know what? I think I know who I'm going to go with.
All right.
Someone who has just recently debuted on the Blue Brand. And no, it is not Shinsuke Nakamura.
Oh, I wanted him. Damn it.
Perfect 10.
Oh, man.
Ty Dillinger.
I wanted Ty. Come back.
Hey,
it's back. Okay, the mic's back again. This is fun. This is a good thing. Audacity automatically. All right, we're back and we're recording. It's a good thing that Audacity does an automatic mix down because we have like 3 tracks going now because the mic keeps dying. That's how sensitive this thing is. I really need to get us a new microphone.
All right.
But yeah, I was like, I can't pass up the opportunity of Brock versus Nakamura.
That is a good.
Think about that. Think about that as a fantasy booker. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the next topic, which I gotta wake up my tablet. We have, after that was the proposal match of Cena and Nikki versus Miz and Maurice, which I actually thought that Maurice and Miz should have won that because Miz was hot, and I feel like the moment of the proposal would have overcome the fact that they lost the match.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? Miz and Maurice still looked all right. They still looked good. It was a good match, and the moment was still sweet. So I'm not going to really complain that much about it. It is what it is. It was a good moment. It was a WrestleMania moment. It made headlines. There we go.
Yeah, it was alright. It's it was mostly the whole moment after the match, and it was a good match. But I mean, nothing too memorable about it.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a good match, but not something I think needs too much time talking about.
No. So we've moved on, and then we've got Seth Rollins versus Triple H.
That was a good match.
Which was a really good match. I don't know what. The entrance for Triple H was cool, even though it was kind of a trike.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty weird.
But I think Rollins coming out with the torch, because he was handed the torch, and then using the torch he was handed to burn Triple H was kind of cool.
That was really
nice. But that was a really good match. They did a good job of showing Rollins' hurt knee and all that stuff.
One thing I had to point out quickly that I liked about it, which is one of the things I've found myself looking forward to more with these shows, is I loved Seth Rollins' in-ring gear and his attire.
Yeah, it was cool.
I liked it. I mean, that's one thing that they do at a lot of big shows now, and I don't really remember too many other memorable attires up to that point.
Yes, Unstoppable was awesome.
It was a very good match.
I loved the how many times they went for the pedigree on one another and just countered.
Yeah.
Pedigree counter, pedigree counter. I think it went back and forth like 5 or 6 times.
Yeah, something like that.
I loved it. I'm like, when are they gonna hit? Oh, they're gonna hit it now. No, they didn't. He's gonna hit it now. Oh, now he's gonna no. Just somebody hit the pedigree.
I did like when Seth hit Triple H with the super kick and he fell into Stephanie and knocked her off the apron.
That was
the
the
table's
ending.
gonna
That
be
was
used
cool.
at some point, and I was like, and it's Stephanie, of course. Every year she has to get screwed over by someone. But that makes you think, next year, is she going to somehow be involved in a match with Dean Ambrose? Because last year she got speared by Roman Reigns. This year she got put in a table kind of by Seth Rollins.
That'd be hilarious. It's Ambrose's turn for big old Paul Levesque to put over.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that was a good one. And now we're up to our next pick. Let me just take a quick. I have an idea of who I want. I just need to make it. Just need to confirm.
I could pick someone for you if you want.
No,
I could just throw like
I know
Eric
exactly.
Rowan on Raw.
I know exactly who I want. I just want to make sure I'm not forgetting anybody. Nope, I'm not, because my next pick, he's just made the list of my roster. Chris Jericho.
Very good choice.
Let's see, where is he now? Chris Jericho, you're on the roster. You just made the list. Boom, there we go. You got a pick?
I do. And it is also another pick that is a tag team, because I have been...
You were just gobbling up tag teams. I gotta start picking tag teams.
And this is also another team where it's... I like them as a tag team, but I'm not thinking so much of the tag team aspect. I think I'm going to keep them around as a tag team, but at some point, we'll see what happens.
Hype Bros.
No.
You're taking Sheamus and Cesaro, aren't you?
Yes,
yep,
I am.
Sheamus and Cesaro. I knew it.
Taking the Swiss Superman and the Celtic Warrior.
Okay. Do you think you can get in another round real quick?
Ooh, yes, I can, because I just realized someone that I meant to pick and totally forgot to pick.
Why, is it Austin Aries?
No, but that's someone I was planning on getting later. I'm guessing that's who your next pick is going to be.
No, I need to get a new... I really badly need to get a tag team, because I think I only have American Alpha and the Hardys, and you have like 3 tag teams.
Yeah, I've got Revival, I've got the Club, I've got Breezango, and I've got Cesaro and Sheamus.
Yeah, I think...
Primetime players, right?
Okay. I think I'm going to go now with Bada Boom, the realest guys in the room. I'm going to take Enzo and Big Cass.
How you doing?
I was debating between them and the Usos, but I'll take Enzo and Cass. Where are they at?
Well, one's under
E, and then the other one's under B, because he's Big Cass, not Colin Cassidy. Where are you, Big Cass?
You're in B-O.
There
he is.
There he is. All right. There we go. So now I've got my third tag team to work with.
I got another pick.
All right.
Which is, as I said, one of the women that I was really liking during the show and really looking forward to winning, but did not pull it out. And that is Nia Jax.
All right. Nice. You got Nia. All right. I got to think on this next pick, so we're going to go ahead and roll on. What's Unstoppable saying on there? What's he saying on the chat?
Said the same thing to his buddy about Ambrose. Glad we're on the same page.
Nice. So now we're up to where the show kind of starts to take a little bit of a downturn and goes downhill. We got the WWE World Heavyweight Championship match of Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton.
Yeah. I feel like if they didn't do those weird video things, it would have been all right. But,
yeah, that was really weird. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. He's using his powers.
Like, if he did it once.
Yeah, if he did
a key moment.
If he did it once or twice and then won, so it was kind of like a distraction type thing or something, that'd be fine. But it was also the fact that, like, when you looked at Randy Orton after the facts, it looked like he didn't even really sell it that well. He didn't even look that shocked or surprised, like, oh, something's going on, okay. Like, and then he won the match anyway.
It would have been great if they did something like Wyatt was down and Orton was setting up for the RKO, and Wyatt all of a sudden jumped up into the crab walk thing, and Orton like took a step back but didn't do anything because he's used to it, and then have the video show and have Orton looking down confused, and then Wyatt like hit him with a massive clothesline or something. I think that would have been a great way to do it if they did it in ways like that, but it was just Wyatt knocked him down and then he's gonna waste time showing a video on the ring. And,
Yeah.
I was also mostly upset about that, though, because I was hoping for Wyatt to win. He finally got the title at Elimination Chamber, and I was hoping he'd get a nice, decent run, but...
Yeah, I was hoping for that, too, but I mean, I guess it's basically being given to Randy for, taking those shots from Brock at SummerSlam, which were not cool. Yeah. And then I believe he helped, talked over with Shane's kids at Survivor Series when Shane did something ridiculous and looked like he was dead. I can't remember.
Yeah,
but that's what I heard. And it's basically him being paid back for those sacrifices. Which is okay, but I was really hoping Bray was going to have a longer run.
Same.
I hope maybe Bray wins it right back. And the match itself I was really excited for, but it just they decided to make it too much about the spooky.
Yeah, they definitely focused.
And not enough about the wrestling, which both those guys can go and can have a great wrestling match.
Yeah.
But we're going to go into... You want to do the next round or the next match first?
We'll do the next match quickly.
Okay. Then we got WWE Universal Championship of Goldberg and Brock Lesnar.
Very short.
Yep.
Very sweet.
Which was exactly what it needed to be.
Mm-hmm. Goldberg got in a few shots. Lesnar took him to Suplex City, and that spelled the end of it.
Yeah, pretty much. If you like German suplexes, spears, F5s, and jackhammers, that was your match.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much. I think it was 10 Germans, or 12.
10. It was 10.
It was 10 in the chain, but was it 12? Wasn't it 12 total because they hit 1 or 2? It was 11 total. And there was 4 or 5 spears, including one through the barricade. And one single F5 and a jackhammer. I thought that match was good for what it was. It was great use out of Goldberg, given what he's like. Especially considering the fact he was apparently given a ring by WWE and refused to take bumps. In his training. That's one of the stories that circulated around. But it did exactly what it needed to do. The only thing that I didn't like was the fact that it took one F5 to put Goldberg down.
I can understand that, but at the same time, he had just taken however many German suplexes.
Yeah, I guess. But I mean, Roman Reigns took that much of a beating and kicked out. The Undertaker took a beating similar to that and kicked out of 2 of those F5s.
True.
John Cena's kicked out of stuff like that. So it's like...
I mean, at the same time, I feel like this is a match that shouldn't have been for the title anyway.
Yeah. But I mean, it was exactly what it needed to be. And I was happy with it. And Lesnar's now the champion. So, all right, we're going to move on to our next pick. And let me just look over real quick. I think I have an idea of who I want. I think I'm torn between a couple people. Just need to make a quick skim to make sure that I'm good on who I did. You took Nia Jax and you didn't get rid of her. Let's see. I think I know who I'm going to take next. I am going to go ahead and grab another singles competitor. And I'm going to take somebody who shined in the Cruiserweight Classic. I'm going to take Austin Aries.
Oh, I thought you were going for the Shining Stars. Hey, before that gimmick, when they were originally just Primo and Epico, I was a fan. But
okay. Yeah, no, Primo and Epico are good. You got a pick?
Yeah, I got someone. I'm going to pick another single superstar. Someone who also did... Well, it didn't win on WrestleMania pre-show, but he won on SmackDown. Man who competed for the Intercontinental Championship, Baron Corbin.
I had a feeling you were going to go with Corbin. All right, let's move on to the next. We're going to wrap up WrestleMania now. Women's Championship was the next match. SmackDown Women's Championship, which, again, I feel like that was supposed to be a longer match. And it got condensed, so everybody was like, everybody's got to get their you-know-what in real quick and go from spot to spot, so it turned into kind of a spot fest.
Yeah, looking at it, I'm almost 100% sure that if it wasn't for the fact that a lot of people on the internet and everything made such a big stink about the fact that they were originally trying to move that match to the pre-show, I feel like if it wasn't for that, they may have just cut the match altogether. Because one thing I'm going to point out, which is something that really bothered me.
I don't think they would have cut the match altogether. Because
what we didn't see in course of the entire weekend or even Raw or SmackDown that week? Not once were the SmackDown tag team titles even mentioned. Not just that they didn't have them on the shows at all. The titles weren't even mentioned. And it kind of bothers me that, that title just wasn't featured anywhere. I mean, and like I said, I feel like the SmackDown women's title, I feel like that and the SmackDown tag titles are kind of lower on the totem pole of the titles, the way they view them. Because like I said, it was a match that they just crammed together to try and get it done really nice and quick. And I feel like I said, if it wasn't for the fact that there was such a stink made about it, that match may have just been cut altogether, like the Divas matches were in the past.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think they would have ever cut it because you want to get that Naomi winning the title, hometown girl moment. So I don't think they were ever going to cut the match.
Percy was looking for Alexa, but whatever.
Yeah, I felt like Naomi had to win it, and it made sense, and I was fine with it. And the match, for what it was really good. The girls did the best with what the time they were given with them.
That's true.
And then we move on to the main event of WrestleMania 33.
Do we have to?
Yes, we do. Undertaker versus Roman Reigns. And I felt bad for Roman.
I felt bad for both guys.
Well, I mean, yeah, I felt bad for both guys, but I felt more so bad for Roman than I did for Taker. It was not a really good match. It is probably the weakest WrestleMania match that Undertaker's maybe put on. I'm not saying a lot because he wrestled Giant Gonzalez at WrestleMania 9.
Yep.
Was it? True. Or was it 8? 9. 9 was in Vegas.
Yeah.
It's just once that reverse tombstone spot got missed, it just went downhill.
From there, yeah.
And I don't know if it was because of Undertaker's nagging injuries, he just couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah, it just looked like his body was starting to give out on him.
Yeah, like even when you watched him in the match, like you could tell that he was just an old man in pain.
In pain.
And it was a sad end to the Undertaker's career. But I mean, as far as showing that he's done and that Roman put him down, I mean, it works that way. Yeah. And I feel like, Roman needed that win anyway. Like, I wasn't one where I was like, even if Taker was healthy, Taker should have won. Yeah. Like, maybe if you wanted to keep Taker around for another couple more years, just because it's Undertaker.
Yeah.
But I feel like Roman, it was the time to give him that win.
Yeah. And the one thing that bothers me, this is going to be a quick transition into what happened the following night.
Yeah. So
the match was what it was. Roman won.
If you want, we can say that. Let's just wrap up real quick. It was really sad watching WrestleMania end with Undertaker putting his stuff in the ring and then fading out.
Yeah.
It had to happen. It was sad. It was part of my childhood gone.
So we could have the Undertaker, the dead man versus the demon, but oh well.
Yeah. But it was what it was. WrestleMania 33 as a whole, final thoughts before we go to Raw?
I enjoyed it.
It was good. Strong in the first half, strong in the first 2/3, then kind of petered out a little bit towards the end.
Yeah.
But still really good, really strong Mania. This was not a bad Mania at all, by far.
I think it's just the fact that it went from 5 p.m. all the way till just after midnight.
The whole fatigue thing. That's what a lot of people are bringing up, which who knows if they'll try to fix that last year. And there's also the fact that that you've got the Hall of Fame Friday, NXT TakeOver Saturday, WrestleMania Sunday, Raw Monday, and now SmackDown Tuesday. 2 years ago, you didn't have NXT. Last year, you didn't even have SmackDown because SmackDown would travel and be taped in a different location and then air on Thursday.
Yeah.
So now you've got like 5-6 straight days of WWE content.
Yeah,
and people get burned out.
As a father with 3 kids, I struggled to try and get into as much of this stuff as I could. It was really difficult.
Yeah. What did Unstoppable have to say?
He was close to tears when Undertaker left the ring. Yeah, and I feel you.
Yep. All right, so let's get one more draft in. Then I think we're gonna try and go through Raw and SmackDown really quick, just very basic, and then we'll transition over to some game stuff. So my next pick will be what do I want? Who do I want on? Let me just browse real quick. Maybe you know what? I'm gonna go with with another tag team pick because I gotta catch up to you on tag teams, and I'm gonna pick a tag team that I feel is a little underrated. Really should be getting some better time on Raw. And very entertaining. I loved their run in NXT. They were NXT Tag Team Champions. I'm going with the Vaudevillains. Aiden English and Simon Gotch.
I love the Vaudevillains. I've always been a fan of the Vaudevillains.
I love the Vaudevillains. They're great, and I'm saddened by the fact that they are not, doing much on SmackDown.
My next pick. Who do I want it to be? I got a couple thoughts. I would pick, AJ Styles, but I mean, I already got the guy, so. Let's see here. You know what? I know who I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with someone who I think is going to have a bright future in WWE. At least I personally think so.
Yeah.
A man who is a former Intercontinental Champion and hopefully will win that title again at some point relatively soon. The one, the only, Luke Harper.
Luke Harper. Nice pick. Good pick. I was thinking about Luke, too. All right.
I think he's kind of underrated by the WWE. I mean, they don't use him too much.
Yeah.
He's a great hand in the ring.
No, they definitely do. All right, so we'll start the timer and let's go over Raw. I'll let you take charge of Raw because I didn't really catch most of it. I only got to watch the last couple segments because I was traveling back from New Jersey. I spent the day in AC in Atlantic City with some friends. Was driving back during most of Raw.
So I'm gonna get right in with the main problem that I had with Monday Night Raw. Overall, Monday Night Raw was good. But WWE showcased one thing, which is their die-hard fans, the people who are willing to spend the thousands of dollars it takes to travel from all over the world to go to WrestleMania, and then even more so to go to the Raw after WrestleMania to try and get their voices heard that isn't normally shown on TV. They started off the show by saying, people from all around the world, these aren't our normal fans. So sometimes they'll cheer for who you normally boo and boo for who you normally cheer. They're crazy. Trying to kind of make it seem like their opinions don't matter as much because it's just a wacky crowd. And the beginning of the show was these people booing Roman Reigns for 10 minutes straight, which I felt bad from about that because I kind of like Roman. And I don't think, there's other guys I like better, but I see the potential in him. I think he has good matches and everything. But just 10 straight minutes of booing for him to then just say, "It's my yard now," and then walk out of the ring. And then it ties into another thing that bothers me, which is later in the night, Paul Heyman came out with Brock Lesnar. And he had a little promo where he was talking about how now it is time for the 2 in 23 and 2 to go 1-on-1. And everyone was booing. And at one point, Paul Heyman said something along the lines of, who else could it be to challenge him? Or who else would you want to see? Something like that. And literally everyone in the arena for a solid minute was chanting, "We want Balor." And he just completely ignored it. And to me, that's just a sign of WWE wants Roman, so they're pushing Roman and forget about what these other people who are the ones who spent all the money to come here are chanting. Well, and I can understand their point of view, but just the fact that they had the announcers saying those things kind of bothered me a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that they said about, they boo who you're supposed to cheer and cheers. No, that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works.
That's not how sports entertaining works.
No, they do not know how to sports entertain. They do, but very well. But Roman, I thought that the whole segment was amazing. From what I heard about it, I thought that was awesome.
I felt bad for him.
That's exactly what you need to do.
True.
In order for Roman, in order to be able to turn heel, it was awesome. And again, the Brock Lesnar thing. I mean, I understand with Paul Heyman, he's trying to get through things, and that's not the program. Finn will get his time. Finn will win the championship again. I'm not worried about Finn.
Shut up.
It was awesome to have him show back up, to have his return. That tag match was cool at the end. I mean, think about this. 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, you're sitting there and you tell somebody, "Hey, guess what? I bet you that Tyler Black, Kevin Steen, Samoa Joe, and Prince Devitt are all going to be in a tag team match in the main event of Raw the night after WrestleMania."
Yep.
That's awesome. And that shows just how great WWE is doing now and bringing people up, grabbing talent from the indies or from ROH, from New Japan, and building them up and then really just adapting to the changing of the times.
Quick little thing we didn't mention before, but you mentioning that reminds me. Newest signee to NXT, Drew McIntyre.
Which is cool. I
I'm
like
glad
that,
about that
because that is a sign of hey, if nothing's going on with you here, go make a name for yourself out there. And then when you make a name for yourself out there and get a following, come back here and we'll help cultivate that and build you even more. Like Drew wasn't doing anything. He was in 3MB. So he went away. He became the What Culture Pro Wrestling champion and was one of the hottest commodities in the indies. And now he's back in NXT. I could see him winning the NXT championship and then coming back up to the main roster.
To finish up with Raw, though, main thing I want to point out, my highlight of Raw was the Revival answering the open challenge of New Day. And I just lost it when they came down and Scott Dawson, he just kicked that ice cream truck of the New Day's over and showed we mean business. Came in, beat them, and then they went out of their way to take out Kofi Kingston as well. I think it's going to be the start of a good feud. And I am so glad the Revival is finally on the main roster. They've been my favorite tag team for a while now.
Oh, yeah. I'm super, super happy, super excited for the Revival on the main roster. And from what happened with them in the New Day, amazing. Gold. Yeah. They're going to have a good program with the New Day. And then if I was them, I would probably put them over the New Day and then and then build them against the Hardys. I mean, what do you think? What is the Revival's catchphrase? No flips, just fists. You put them against Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy's all flips, no fists.
Yep.
Writes itself.
Exactly.
Unless they do the broken gimmick, which would be cool if they did that. But they could always work that in.
To break them.
Could be. We'll see. Okay, next round. I know already what I'm going to pick. I'm going to go back into the women's division for my next pick. And I am going to take Becky Lynch. Straight fire. I now have all the 4 horsewomen except for Charlotte. It's like a reverse of what happened in real life. Yep. Just switch Becky for Charlotte.
That's true.
All right. You know what you're going to take?
Not entirely sure, but I'm sure I'll be able to figure it out relatively quickly. Oh, I've already got Ty Dillinger. Let's see. What to do. We've already got so many people that I want to get. You know what? Should I be that guy?
What guy?
Should I be that guy that screws you over that much more?
I don't know what you're doing, but I guess.
All right, then
I'm
gonna go with another tag team. I'm gonna get the Usos.
I knew it. I knew you were gonna take Jimmy and Jay.
SmackDown.
Well, I've got enough tag teams now. I've got
quite the tag team division.
I've got 4 tag teams right now. I've got the Hardys. I've got American Alpha. I've got Enzo and Cass. And did I take somebody else? I could have sworn I picked a 4th team.
American Alpha? Did you say them?
I picked American Alpha. I guess I need another team. I only have 3 teams. I need another team. Okay.
I'm going to be able to do different rivalries every week with tag teams.
Yeah, well, good for you. Good for you and your stuff and your things. All right, so let's move on to SmackDown really quickly before we do the next round.
Yep. I think the main things to talk about there are the arrival of the Perfect 10 and the King of Strong Style.
Yow! I look like a spaz doing that.
Yeah, a little bit. But yeah, show overall was good. They had a little brief thing with Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton in the beginning that showed the return of the, hey, we need something for a storyline with Bray Wyatt. Let's bring back Eric Rowan with a new mask where it's a sheep's mask that's altered. And welcome back, Eric Rowan, for like a week or 2.
I heard it's like steampunk-ish.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, they opened the show with that, which set up for a tag team match later in the night. WWE Champion Randy Orton and Luke Harper versus Bray Wyatt and Eric Rowan.
Yeah, which, if you ask me, doesn't make sense. Because who is Luke Harper more upset with in the breakup of the Wyatt family? Not Bray, Randy. He blamed Randy for pulling them apart and breaking them apart.
No, well, I mean, at the same time, Bray was the one who kicked him out.
I guess. It's just such a convoluted thing now.
Yeah.
It's just weird. But that said, SmackDown, despite what happened, the thing that happened with AJ Styles and Shane was cool.
That was really cool.
That was cool. And of course, we now have Shinsuke Nakamura on SmackDown on the main roster. I am excited for that. I really hope that AJ doesn't go to Raw in the Superstar Shakeup so we can get AJ Nakamura because they have killed it before New Japan.
Unfortunately, I'm getting the feeling, and I think this is going to be pretty cool. Prediction here. I don't know if anyone else has predicted it, but this is what I'm guessing. During the Superstar Shakeup, we're going to see a switch between the brands of AJ Styles
And Seth
to
Rollins.
Raw and Seth Rollins to SmackDown.
Yep.
Because, I mean, they both just fought their bosses on their brand. I don't think their bosses
Mhm.
really want them around anymore.
Yeah.
We'll see.
But it'll be interesting because you got to do that without turning Shane heel, because you already have a heel Stephanie, unless you do a double turn where Stephanie becomes a face by proxy because she's buddy-buddy with Kurt Angle, and Kurt Angle's the new GM.
True.
So that's wrestling. We finally wrapped up the wrestling. I think it took us like an hour and a half to get through it.
Do you have any quick predictions about Superstar Shakeup?
Not really. Like just like you said, I think maybe AJ to Raw and Seth to SmackDown. Other than that, I really have no idea.
Right.
I don't know who to pick. But speaking of picks, I do know who to pick next in the draft.
Okay.
And I'm going to use and give you 2 picks.
Oh.
Because I'm going to pick the people that the Revival are fighting now, the New Day, because I need tag teams.
That you do.
So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take Big E, Kofi Kingston, and Xavier Woods, my boys.
And I get 2 picks now. Who do I want?
Yeah, so you can pick a tag team and a singles competitor, or 2 singles competitors. Where are you, Kofi? Where's Kofi? There he is. Kofi, and then Woods is all the way down at the bottom. No, not Zack Ryder.
You can take Zack Ryder.
You know it. Hey, Zach's good.
He's good, but he's not really doing it.
All right, so who you got?
Let's see.
You got 2 picks back to back.
You already took Austin Aries.
Yes, I did.
Let me go down the list a little bit, see who there is. I'll go with Dolph Ziggler.
All right, Dolph.
And I think I may go with another female superstar.
Oh, really?
I think so. Yep, just for the heck of it, because I don't have too many. I am going to go with Emma.
Oh, Emma. Nice pick.
Thank you.
Nice pick. I almost forgot Emma was still on the board.
Yeah, she just returned.
As
Emma, not Emmeline.
Yeah, thank God.
Whatever. Yeah.
All right, so now we're going to keep the draft going for a little bit longer. Now we're going to switch into the video game segment of the show. Woo. What did Unstoppable say, by the way? You got to keep up on the chat, man.
He was talking about how SmackDown was a perfect 10 with those 2 debuts.
Yes, it was. 10. All right, so now we are on to gaming news. So you've got the top stories. Lots of stuff from Blizzard and Overwatch, right?
Yes. First thing that I will mention with Blizzard is they have recently won an $8.5 million lawsuit with a company. I forget the name of it, but a company that basically their entire business was just making cheats for games such as Overwatch. And they ended up winning in a court case because of the fact that it can negatively impact their games and thus their sales, and thus they're kind of, forget the term. Starts with a D.
I don't know what we're going
Yeah, they're basically harming their company through this.
Oh.
But anyway, legal talk, so whatever.
But I mean, good on Blizzard. A lot of people say, "Oh, they're hurting cheating," but you know, I feel like cheats are fine if the developer has it in their mind to design the cheats and have it in them.
Yeah, kind of like with Bethesda with mods.
Or if it's like a single player game where you're like you said, like with mods. But I think online games like Overwatch, like StarCraft, like
competitive games,
like those ones, if there's a company that is specifically designed to hack into your game and make your game unplayable and ruin the playing experience for other people online, that's where it crosses the line, and that's why Bethesda sued these guys, and that's why they won. And I feel like it's perfectly fine.
I agree.
Like, gone are the days of Game Genie, guys. If you want to cheat, do it in a single player game where you're not going to affect anybody else. And then the next one.
Don't try that at home.
And then the next piece of Overwatch news is that Blizzard released a new comic, which I did read this morning.
I did too.
It was a good one.
Yesterday, or 2 days ago. I enjoyed it, and one thing that I'm excited for with it is the fact that it's apparently leading up to the next event in Overwatch.
Yes.
No one's really 100% sure on what it's going to be. I'm wondering if they're going to, for the first time ever, do a sort of well, not really first time ever, because I mean, with Dr. Junkenstein's Revenge and stuff, people versus just like Omnics and stuff like that, because the story is centered around a rogue faction of Omnics extremists or terrorists, whoever you're looking at speaking about it, taking over King's Row, and Overwatch overstepping their orders to go into there. And a lot of people are thinking that we're going to start seeing some new skins from it, like Strike Commander Morrison from the comic, Mercy from the comic, Tracer. All those characters, they're older versions from those comics. They're going to start seeing those pop up, which I think would be really cool.
Yeah, it would be really, really sick. And I think I agree with you. I think it's going to be an event that's going to be very much like Dr. Junkenstein's, where I think it's going to be PvE, where you can probably pick whatever heroes you want. That won't adhere to the story.
Yeah, I mean,
but the map itself,
pick the people that were involved in the operation or something.
But the map itself will involve you playing through the scenario against AI, against Omnics, and like they'll have new loot crates or whatever. Or they'll open up skins you can get in not loot crates, but loot boxes. That you can that will have skins of older versions of the Overwatch people.
And apparently Black Widow may have something involved in that.
Yeah, I'm wondering what that might be, because Widowmaker, not Black Widow.
Sorry, my mistake.
Widowmaker, Freudian slip, was like, at this point she was dead and Widowmaker-ified, but nobody knew it yet, because it was Anna who first discovered who Widowmaker was and lost her eye, and she was thought dead. And Anna's not on this operation according to the canon. It's Torbjorn, Reinhardt, Mercy, and Tracer.
Yeah, she was talking to
so
I'm thinking 76, but yeah.
I'm thinking maybe just for the sake of older skins of that thing, since we just saw that her husband, like if you look on the back of the comics, it states in Egypt that like an Overwatch senior official was assassinated. I think that was Widowmaker's husband. So maybe they'll go back, since it's generally in that time frame. They'll have Widowmaker, but as I can't remember her original name, but as that character's original person before she was abducted by Talon and brainwashed. So maybe that.
Yeah, it's quite possible.
Another cool things from the comic was we found out how Tracer got her catchphrase, "The Cavalry's Here." Torbjorn gave it to her. Inadvertently, just saying, "Oh, it's because she was a new recruit. She had just gotten cleared to be a recruit, and this was her first Overwatch mission." He was like, "It's you. You're on this mission. Well, then I guess the cavalry is here." And she's like,
That's a good one.
I like that." So that was cool, and you got to see the tensions between Reyes and Morrison, which was cool. You got to see a little bit of the underlings of the tension. You got to see Morrison really starting to like feel the stress and the pressure of Overwatch starting to crumble and like fall apart.
Yeah.
Which was cool. Plus, we got 2 seconds of McCree, so
yeah,
that's always good.
McCree's always fun.
The next and final piece of Overwatch news.
The interview.
Yeah, was the interview with Jeff Kaplan, where he talked about how they almost had a cat hero
who was inside a jetpack,
which was weird. Like he said, it was like that was a little too far for Overwatch.
Yeah.
But he also said about every 4 months or whatever they'll release a new character.
Yeah, that's the schedule that they're going on, and that they're not really going to do any more of that stuff they did with Sombra, with all the hidden stuff everywhere that you have to look online to try and find out.
Like the character's just going to pop up. Is it going to be something more like Orisa, where maybe something changes right beforehand, or no?
I'm thinking it might be something like that. I know a lot of people are trying to speculate about the next character.
I'm pretty sure it's got to be Doomfist, because everybody wants Doomfist at this point.
Yeah, everyone wants Doomfist, and everyone wants Terry Crews to be Doomfist, including myself.
And me too. And Jeff Kaplan was like, "We don't understand why people were so hyped up about Doomfist." It's like, it's because you advertised him in one of the maps of the game, and he was one of the first adverts. And when you mention, "Oh, Doomfist is this ridiculous hero," you're like, "I want to see Doomfist."
Yeah, they had that. He was in one of the cinematics that they did. And also I think one of the things that put it over the edge is the fact that Terry Crews specifically said he wanted to play Doomfist, and everyone was right on board with that. I think that's part of what it was too.
Yep. All right, and that's all for the Mass Effect news.
You mean Blizzard
Overwatch news? That's what I meant. I said Mass Effect because Mass Effect's the next story.
Yep.
But before we move on to that, let's do one more round of the draft. Let's see. I'm just looking through real quick. I'm debating between two guys. Two guys. But I'm going to pick... But I think I know who I'm going to draft. I am going to go with a man who is already on Raw. A man who I think hasn't been getting booked as strongly as he should have been, according to late in 2016. He is quite possibly he is going to be a future WWE World Heavyweight Champion, no doubt about it. Or a Universal Champion because he's on Raw. I just got to get up to him.
I mean, from what you're talking about, I think you're talking about Kurt Hawkins, but he's not on Raw.
Yeah, damn it. I forgot about that. All right, well, I got to... No. No, I am talking about Braun Strowman.
Oh, I was thinking of that.
Braun is my next pick.
That's a good pick.
Braun Strowman. All right, so who you got next?
Let's see. I'm sure I'll be able to find someone fairly quickly. Although it is starting to dwindle down. Maybe Stunning.
We are getting not allowed.
I know. Let's see. And one thing I realized, you, sir, have still not done your NXT pick.
I have not. I'm saving it.
All right.
I already know who I'm going to pick from NXT, so.
Oh,
and you don't, and you already used up your NXT pick, so I don't have to rush that pick at all.
I know that. You know what? Where is he? I am going to go with the current WWE Cruiserweight Champion, Neville.
Neville, nice pick. I had a feeling you were going to go for Neville. All right, so I think we can get one, maybe two more rounds in, and then we will be able to then we'll do the rest of the draft. It'll be a few guys rapid fire in a quick video for Patreon. So moving on into the gaming news, there was an update from Mass Effect Andromeda this week, which you didn't mention in here, but it cleared up the creepy eyes of Addison, where she looked like she was stoned or off her, not off her meds, on way too many of her meds, to actually looking like a human being.
Like she was Festus.
Yes. And now, so there was those changes, but there was also the change with the transgender character. Got to make sure I get her name right. Haley Abrams. Haley Abrams. Yes. Where she was a transgender character NPC. You run into her at some point, and she almost matter-of-factly is like, yeah, I'm transgender. My name was Steven.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, and a lot of people were like, if you're transgender, you don't give that information away like willy-nilly to somebody on the first conversation.
They point out that apparently back in the Milky Way galaxy, we're still in the 1950s and stuff, and people are still like, oh, transgender,
well,
blah, blah.
Even today, where people are kind of iffy on transgender
but
people.
You think that far in the future it'll be better, but no, apparently Milky Way galaxy is still pretty.
Yeah, so they kind of,
and so she's leaving an entire galaxy to get away from this stuff, and then she just openly talks about it.
Yeah, so they kind of retcon that to where Shepard's got to talk to her a couple times over, earn her trust, and then when she feels comfortable, because that's a pretty big thing to tell somebody, she will tell you. So that was that. Then we're moving on to Persona 5 streaming issues. I was
excited to talk about.
Yeah, you can go ahead and bring it up.
Yeah, apparently with Persona 5, they have this thing going on, I forget the name, but the company that makes it.
Atlas,
that's it, yes. That Atlas apparently is having some issues with people that are streaming and doing Let's Plays and stuff of the game because they don't want people being spoiled on it, and so they're threatening copyright strikes on people if they go against their wishes and do it past a certain date in game, streaming or doing Let's Plays and stuff. And a lot of people are not happy about that, and I can totally understand why, and I'm one of those people.
And I mean, it's not cool by Atlas to do that, because I mean, so many games, and it's common with Let's Plays for people to just play through the story and upload that stuff. And if people don't want to get spoiled, it's most live streams and Let's Plays will say playing the campaign or this part of the campaign.
Yeah.
You should know inherently that spoilers are involved when you're going to watch somebody stream a campaign or watch somebody's Let's Play of a campaign. I've had people on this on my Twitch stream when I was playing Final Fantasy 15 who said, "Oh, I'm just here to support you," and then I'm ducking out because I don't want to get spoiled, and that's fine. You should know going in. And in response, I would say, if you were thinking of playing Persona 5, now don't, as a protest.
Yeah.
But there's the issue that, there's some channels where they might be Persona specific or Atlas game specific.
Exactly.
And that's their livelihood. And that's why it's not cool for Atlas to do this.
Exactly.
And that's the problem. And I just think it's not cool by Atlas. I feel like it's an overreaction. You really don't have to worry about people getting spoiled on your game when people should inherently know, if I'm going to watch content of this game, there is a chance I'm going to get spoiled.
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of at a day and age, especially with stuff like that, of if you know someone is showing this thing in specifically, you should know that there are going to be spoilers involved if you pay attention, if you go and watch it. And it's not really something that's secret. And another thing that was mentioned is the fact that a lot of people will go and watch these streams and Let's Plays and stuff to get an idea of what the game's like, to decide whether or not they're going to buy it. So by not letting people do that, they're kind of cutting off some potential buyers by doing so.
Yeah.
Because I know me personally, I haven't really played any of the Persona games. I've always been somewhat interested, but things like this kind of turn me away from the game. Especially if I'm now knowing that, you're gonna do negative things to these people that are just trying to show what the game is about.
You don't want to monetarily support somebody who's going to do that.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I feel you. It definitely affected my way, because I played Persona 4. I'm only I think 15 hours into the game, which for a JRPG is nothing.
Yeah, that's
like a penny in the bucket. But like hearing this news makes me not want to go back to playing Persona 4, and doesn't make me I had a slight curiosity of playing Persona 5, but now I'm I don't really want to, because I don't want to support companies that do that.
Yeah.
And it's technically a violation of fair use. I know fair use is a very iffy subject with lots of gray lines, but it's really not cool.
Yeah.
And it sucks, and I do not support Atlas's stand. And I would just say to any fellow YouTuber or Twitch streamer out there, unless you are reliant upon Persona content for your livelihood or for your channel, just
stay away.
Stay away. Just what's the word I'm looking for that starts with a B?
Boycott?
Yeah, just boycott the game. Just boycott Persona, boycott Atlas's games. You can still, if you really love those games and you still want to buy them and play them, then buy them and play them. But don't play them on Twitch or on YouTube, because then it promotes those games.
Yeah. And then you're only doing them a favor.
Yeah. All right. So last two topics we are on.
Next one is kind of a small one. Just something that I thought was neat that came up this week.
Yeah, we'll get through that real quick. Twitch, they've announced it before, but now they finally enacted it. You can now buy games on Twitch.
Mm-hmm. Which I think is really cool, because now you could be watching someone play a game, be like, hey, I kind of like that, and go ahead and buy it.
Mm-hmm. So it's really cool. Now basically Twitch kind of acts like a pseudo Steam, where it's oh, you see that this person's playing Overwatch, but you haven't bought Overwatch and you want to buy Overwatch. Well, there's a buy now button next to the little box art telling you what game they're playing, and you can buy the game and you can buy it right there. Do you know if it works where you buy it straight to the PC, or you can buy it via the different consoles?
I believe it's straight to the PC, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
But one thing that reminds me of that I'll just bring up quickly, that also references the last thing we just talked about, Overwatch. I love Overwatch. It's one of my favorite games that I play nowadays. Honestly, if it wasn't for Austin Creed on Up Up Down Down, I probably wouldn't have gotten it, because that's where I had initially seen it. I had heard a lot about the game, hadn't really seen anything. I saw that Up Up Down Down had posted something about it, so I went, I'll watch it. I ended up loving it, and now I've got the game. Just an example of how you could get people to buy these games by letting people
power
show the games.
of being an influencer.
Yes.
So yeah, that was cool. And then the last story that we have, the last topic, is that Mega Man, he's not getting a new game.
Nope.
Because that's probably never going to happen.
Yeah.
With all that situation. He's getting a new TV show.
Yep. Straight to Cartoon Network.
Yeah, there's apparently a Mega Man TV show being made on Cartoon Network. And basically, the design is okay, but the story, if you liked the Mega Man story in canon, you're not gonna like this, because they basically just full on Kali Ma reached into Mega Man, pulled out his heart, and then just tossed it into a lava pit. Yeah. Because instead of the traditional stuff with what is Dr. Wily and all them, instead Mega Man is just a regular robot boy who is a regular robot by day.
Yeah, good robot
in
boy.
High school. And then he's Mega Man, a superhero by night, kind of like the Clark Kent Superman thing, or the Bruce Wayne Batman, or the Peter Parker Spider-Man, which is probably the closest parallel, because they're both in high school. So I don't know. It's an interesting new take. it might turn more people on to Mega Man, and who knows, maybe that might lead to a new Mega Man game, so that could always be good.
Yeah.
But as far as the canon, I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, we'll have to see what it's like when it comes out.
Mm-hmm. And that piggybacks on, like you had mentioned in the notes, Castlevania also has a TV show going on.
Yeah, they're going to be getting a TV show on Netflix. I know at the end of last month they released their first poster for it. I'm getting pretty excited for it.
Yeah.
I'll watch it. I mean, we'll see what it is. I mean, it's another thing where we haven't gotten too much information. We'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, like, I'm not a big I'm not a big Mega Man fan. I'm not a Castlevania fan at all. So it doesn't strike my interest. But it's interesting to see, like, movies aren't working out so well as last year kind of proved with Assassin's Creed and Warcraft, and what was the other one? I think Angry Birds had a movie that was kind of maybe they're like, maybe if we do TV, maybe video games will do better if we do like anime shows or cartoons and stuff like that.
Maybe if you get people that can handle the game to a video
properly.
Properly, yeah.
I don't know. So yeah, what's your take on the potential turn of video games into TV shows? Do you think they'll work well, better than movies? Do you think they should stick with movies or try both, or do you think it's all good, all bad?
I think it honestly depends on the kind of game. I mean, something like Halo, I mean, they've got a web series for it. It seems to do fine. I personally feel like stuff like that would do better as a movie. Something like Call of Duty would do better as a movie, which they're actually thinking of trying to do, is potentially making Call of Duty movies, which
could be good.
They could be good.
Call of Duty is made to be like one of those Michael Bay blow everything up blockbusters.
Exactly, something like that would be good for that. But maybe something like some JRPGs and stuff, they might do better as a TV show because there's a lot more stuff you could cover.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's that. My thought is, if you can, so long as it leads to better video games, more game sales, and it's like a good product, or it gets us to a point to where maybe video games can go into different mediums and those lore can be told in other ways, I think it's all good. So I'm hoping for the success of this, and maybe it leads to more stuff. If not, just back to the drawing board, I guess.
Basically, yeah.
So that's going to do it for us on the podcast. We're going to do one last round, and then you're going to find the rest of the draft will be happening rapid fire on a video for Patreon. So be sure to check that out at patreon.com/elmurpho. With my final pick, I will use my NXT draft pick. I wanted to save it as the last pick. And I'm going to bolster the women's division even more. I started off with a Japanese superstar. I'm going to end it with a Japanese superstar. And I'm going to take the NXT... How'd you know? I'm going to take the NXT Women's Champion, Asuka. So Asuka and Bobby Roode will be vacating their titles. We will be having new NXT Women and NXT regular, I guess, champions. So there we go. That is my final pick with my draft. And now it is your pick.
All right.
Who are you going to take?
Make it a good one. I'm not sure who I'm going to pick.
Do you need a reminder with the board? Are you good?
Yeah, I could do with a little reminder.
All right, there's the board right there. Make your decision.
Woo! There's not much. Slim pickings.
Yep, we're gonna do a quick the Patreon video is gonna be a quick rapid fire.
If that person was on the main roster, I'd pick them, but nah. You know what? I know who I'm gonna pick. Someone that I haven't always been a fan of, but someone who I think this last year has done amazing.
I know who you're going for.
And is looking for, and is going to be doing some big things in the future. I'm going with The Miz.
Yep. If I wasn't going to take Asuka, I was going to take Miz, and he was going to be my first pick on Patreon. So, saw you doing that. All right. So, let's break down the final rosters. We will go through, and we will break down to you guys who we have. I'll show you the participants. We'll just go through and see added. I have the Vaudevillains, Aiden English, and Simon Gotch. Asuka, Austin Aries, Becky Lynch, Bayley, The New Day, Enzo and Big Cass. Who else? I'm going through. Braun Strowman, Brock Lesnar, American Alpha, Chris Jericho. Keep going. There's Enzo, Finn Balor. Where else? I've got a lot of guys lower down. The Hardy Boys, John Cena. I've also got Kevin Owens, who's right there, right as I said it. Awesome timing, me. We also have... I'm also very close to the microphone. Matt Hardy is part of the Hardy Boys. Let's keep going. Roman Reigns, Sami Zayn, Sasha Banks, Seth Rollins, Shinsuke Nakamura, Let's see. I know I've got a couple more down here. Maybe not. Maybe not. No, wait. I do. I think I do. I know that's it. That's it right there. So that's my roster. And then as we look at yours, you have AJ Styles,
the phenomenal AJ Styles,
Alexa Bliss.
I have Baron Corbin.
Mm-hmm.
Who else have we got? We got the current NXT champion Bobby Roode. Very excited about that. I got Bray Wyatt. Also very excited about that. Love Bray. Got Cesaro and Sheamus. I've got Charlotte. I've got the Revival, my favorite tag team. We've got sorry about that. We've got Dean Ambrose. We've got Dolph Ziggler. Emma, who's gonna help out with the women's division. We've got Breezango.
I still can't believe you picked them that early.
Hey, I am just a big fan of Tyler Breeze.
Oh, I love Tyler Breeze.
We got the Usos. We got Anderson and Gallows, which fills out the club.
Mm-hmm.
Got Luke Harper on there. We got The Miz. We've got Neville. We've got Nia Jax. Very excited about that. Randy Orton.
Oh, I'm going through all this.
Champion.
I'm gonna switch over here so you guys can actually see what we've got. Yeah. I went through my entire roster, not showing the gameplay.
Yeah, we already been telling everyone. Let's see. You got Samoa Joe. Yeah, still part of other tag teams I got.
I think that's it after Samoa Joe, right?
Nope. Ty Dillinger, the Perfect 10, and Tyler Breeze as part of the Breezango.
There we go. All right, so we still have on
Thank you very
Patreon.
Much Unstoppable, by the way.
What
says was a really good podcast.
Oh, thanks, Unstoppable. I appreciate it, man. So our final. This is the free agents that are still left on the board to be drafted in Patreon. We have Alicia Fox, Apollo Crews, Big Show, Bo Dallas, Carmella, Curtis Axel, Dana Brooke, Darren Young, Eric Rowan, Goldust, Heath Slater and Rhino, Kalisto, Kane, The Ascension, Mark Henry, the Hype Bros, Naomi, Natalia, Nikki Bella, Paige, R-Truth, Rusev, Sin Cara, Summer Rae, Tamina, and Titus O'Neil. Zach's part of the Hype Bros, Victor's part of the Ascension. Sure, I mentioned them already. So that is going to do it for us for this podcast. Be sure to head over to Patreon and support us over there for as little as $2 if you can, so that way you guys can get access to the rapid fire draft. We will decide who has what champion, figure out the championship situation next week. We will be keeping the same championships again as the regular shows. We'll just determine champions then. Thank you all so much for watching. We really don't have a sign off right now, so yeah. Gaming and wrestling.
Yeah.
Sports entertainment. Take care, everybody. Thanks for coming. And see you next week, hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah.
Or whenever we do the next show. Hopefully it won't be too long. Thanks, guys, for watching.
Thank you very much.
And I'm going to go full screen. Whoops, that is the wrong scene. That's the right scene. There we go. Okay. All right. Take care, guys. Peace out.
Have a good night.